Welcome to episode 55 of the Fitness Hippie Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Mark Torres, and in today's episode, we're going to be discussing the big kahuna, the big cheese, the big boss, the leader, the king, the ultimate, the best fitness hippie that ever lived. Let's talk about it. Last week's show, you might be very, very confused. This is episode 55 of the Fitness Hippie Podcast, formerly known as the Made to Excel Fitness Podcast. You're in the right place. So last week's episode served as the bridge episode between the name change. So this is the 55th episode of this podcast, but this is the first actual Fitness Hippie episode. So everything else before this was Made to Excel Fitness Podcast. It's all the same, just a different name. So if you missed last week's episode, you're now caught up. This is now the Fitness Hippie Podcast. I'm still your host, as always, Mark Torres. Still the same thing going forward, but here we are. We're all caught up. And I think this is a perfect introduction to the Fitness Hippie show. The first full episode of the show is discussing probably the biggest fitness hippie and the ultimate fitness hippie that ever lived on the entire planet. Maybe not, but that's an exaggeration. But obviously, this is the Fitness Hippie Podcast, and I'm the host of said podcast. So I like to think of myself as a fitness hippie. But after watching this video and watching this man talk about his fitness life and his nutrition and his health and all that, this concept of the fitness hippie, it's not a complicated concept, but it's very nuanced. And it's something that is, something that I foresee myself talking about for a long time because it's maybe hard to grasp for some people. But in this 8-minute and 51-second video, this dude just explains and embodies exactly what a fitness hippie is. And I'm watching this, I'm like, this motherfucker here, he figured it out, and he's so concise and so perfect about it. And the man in question is Ziggy Marley, the son of Bob Marley. No woman, no cry, Buffalo Soldier. This love, one love. And Ziggy Marley's no slouch himself, but he has the video with Men's Health Gym and Fridge Tour. And I've obviously known about the name change for a while. And as I was waiting for a logo and as I was waiting for figuring out how to do the transition, blah, 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 you guys don't care. I was working and I had YouTube on in the background. And I think Rob McElhaney was doing his Train Like series with Men's Health. And it was kind of auto playing. And this is a video from months ago. It was 7 months ago. And it just so happened to play. And I'm like, this dude gets it. This dude is the fitness hippie. If there's anybody that I would tell anybody to look at and say, this is what your fitness life should look like, and this is the approach you should take to fitness, it's probably Ziggy Marley's approach. So if Fitness Hippie was like a league or like a game, Ziggy Marley's probably Michael Jordan. So if I can be like at least Scottie Pippen, I'd be happy. Scottie Pippen made a lot of money. So without further ado, let's get into reviewing Ziggy Marley's gym, workout, and fridge.
Hey Ziggy, we're here to see your gym and fridge.
Yo, come check out my workout. Let's see what's happening. Welcome. Get up, stand up for your right.
Alright Ziggy, it's gym time. How often do you work out?
Work out every day, no matter what it is.
All right, so right off the bat there, the first thing that the interviewer asks is, Ziggy, how many days per week do you work out? And Ziggy says, I work out every day. I do something every day. And this is actually something that I've seen a lot of celebrities talk about recently. So Ziggy says it in this video, and I was listening to Steve-O's podcast, and he had Mark Cuban on. Mark Cuban said the same thing when he goes to Mavs games. He gets there early, and he hops on a treadmill or something, and he walks for a little bit or runs or whatever he does a little bit of weightlifting. And Steve-O says, do you do that every day? And Mark says, I try to do something active every day. And I think he said that he got that from Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett's doing something every day. It could be wrong about Warren Buffett, but there was somebody else that he was talking about. So it seems like in Hollywood, in Celebrityville, it's like a common thing for people to try to do something every day. And I'll be the first to admit, I definitely don't do something every day. By the time Saturday and Sunday rolls around, I want to do nothing but sit on the couch and watch TV and probably eat some fast food, especially in a place like in New York where the weather's kind of shitty for like half of the year. It's kind of hard to just go outside. But I think, having listened to this, especially, you listening to this, depending on your situation, it doesn't, you shouldn't come across as like you should work out every day, because I don't think that that's necessarily the case. I think that's far from being necessary. But if you can do something more days than not, doesn't have to be working out. Let's say you go to the gym twice a week, and that's great for you, and you're able to make progress, and you're able to build on that. That's fantastic. But hopefully over the course of the other 5 days that you're not going into the gym and working out, you can do something active, especially on a weekend day like a Saturday or Sunday where you're doing nothing. If you just go out for a brisk walk or something like that, or maybe, get a really quick like workout in, or just like walk around, whatever it is, do something active on more days than not. That's a great thing to strive for. Maybe it doesn't have to be every day, depending on your circumstances, but don't take it as like you got to work out every day, because I don't think you have to do that. I surely don't do that. But if you can be more active than not, that's fantastic. And then Ziggy says, the interviewer asked him if his workouts change over time, and Ziggy says, yeah, I get bored of stuff sometimes, and I change it up, which is great, right? You want your enjoyability level to be high, so you can continue to do whatever you're doing for a long period of time. So enjoyability is probably the first thing, the kind of the most overlooked thing in all of fitness, is like your enjoyability level is so important, because you're going to do things that you enjoy way more than you're going to do things that you don't enjoy doing.
Has your exercise regimen changed over time?
Yeah, I get bored sometimes, so I'm always switching it up. My exercise regime is whatever I want it to be.
What inspired you to get fit?
Well, I feel good when I'm fit, and I like feeling good. So exercise helps me release stress and make me look good too.
What's your favorite part of working out?
My favorite part of workout is probably during the middle or the end. That's when I really get into it. The beginning type of slow, but then once I start going, I'm really like going.
Do you use a trainer?
Yeah, I work out with trainers sometime. I work out with my son, Gideon. We do a lot of
So
workout
there Ziggy
together.
says he likes to work out because it's a stress reliever and it gets his life going, and he looks good when he does it, which is great. Dude asked him when he feels the best in a workout. He's like, in the middle or towards the end when I really get into it. So sometimes the hardest part of working out is getting started, right? You dread going to the gym. You dread working out if it's at home, whatever it is. But once you get the ball rolling, more times than not, it kind of takes off and you feel good after you do it. So sometimes getting the ball rolling is the hardest part. Ziggy has an absolutely adorable dog. The dude says, do you use a trainer? He says, yeah, I use my son. His son, he grabs his ankles and he does leg raises, which is really funny.
What type of training do you do?
All type of training, man. Sports, martial arts, boxing, anything with physical activity we do.
Did you ever study martial arts?
Yeah, man, I studied some jiu-jitsu and self-defense. Yeah, I've studied martial arts. I think it's important.
That was also a
Good
fantastic
exercise.
question. The guy says, Ziggy, what kind of exercises do you do, whatever? And he says, I do martial arts, I do physical activity, I do sports, whatever it is that gets my physical activity going. That's amazing, right? Enjoyability, like I said just now. Enjoyability level, as long as it's high, you're going to be physically active, more physically active, I should say, than doing something that you absolutely hate doing. So find stuff that you enjoy doing, right? Weightlifting is obviously, like, for me, the way I look at fitness is the creme de la creme. And if you can infuse lifting into your fitness lifestyle some way, somehow, even a little bit, that's great. But other than that, finding things that you enjoy doing, super important, right? Ziggy does what he wants to do.
What do you listen to when you work out?
I listen to Rage Against the Machine, some Bob Marley too, some Wheelers, sometimes some Biggie and Tupac and Dre and those guys, Yo! Old school sit-ups. Yes!
What are your fitness goals?
The most important muscle is the heart muscle. So my fitness goal is to always have a strong heart. And that's the muscle that means the most. You can have like a big biceps, chest and legs, but if your heart ain't strong, none of the other muscles matter. So I think that's my goal, is to keep my heart
That's
muscle
another
very strong.
amazing question. Like, Ziggy Marley just like exudes this cool persona. Like, this dude's just chill. So the interviewer says, what is your goal, Ziggy? Ziggy says, my goal is to have a strong heart. So when I talk about the balance between fitness, health, and happiness, that's kind of the three most important things. Fitness could be like the way you look and the way you perform. Health is like how your body functions, and happiness is obviously happiness. So Ziggy right there, he breaks it down so simply, so easily, the difference between fitness and health. He says you could have big biceps, you could have big legs, you could have big chest, but if your muscle, if the most important muscle of your body is your heart and it's not working well, what's the point? That's amazing, right? So Ziggy is doing what he enjoys doing, and he's prioritizing his health in terms of his heart. He wants his body to function at the utmost capacity that it can. This is amazing. This is one of the best videos I've ever seen in my life.
Do you use any special equipment?
I use some equipment this here. Now this, we call it a bearings. This one was made by my brother Rohan, given to me. And this is something that we used to see our father use. So we made one like it. It's not the cheap plasticky stuff, this is a real deal. And you can't get this in the stores. We do some Peloton sometime on the road machine. But otherwise than that, my body is a machine.
Do you have any scars?
Scars, not a few scars, some disappear by now. I have a scar right here. Got an elbow here again once. Some scars all over my leg and stuff like that, but that's about it.
Do you have a morning routine?
Morning routine? I don't have any routines. My routines is free.
Interviewer says, hey Ziggy, do you have any routines? Ziggy says, I have no routines. I'm free to do whatever I want to do. This dude is just cool, right? This dude is just cool. So the hippie part of the Fitness Hippie Podcast is like having this open mind and this free will and this free thinking. And Ziggy is like the epitome of that, right? In terms of like successful Instagram and successful TikTok, the entrepreneur parts of social media. It's all about routine. It's all about waking up early and attacking the day and getting things done early. And that's great, right? I think there's a part of that should be a part of your routine if that's the way you're going, right? If you have a grind, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're really working on doing things, there is some form of structure that you need to ensure that you're actually doing these things and not just like kind of spinning out and procrastinating a lot. But I think in terms of your fitness, the more loosey-goosey you can be and the more free will you can be, like Ziggy is now. He's like, I wake up and I have no routine. My routine is free. My life is free. Of course, he's in a different situation where he's like financially stable enough that he doesn't have to worry about like making money and stuff like that. And that kind of inhibits a lot of us normal folk. But if your fitness routine can be more free like that, like, yo, I'm going to go to the gym. Of course, if you have very specific performance goals, that's one thing. But if you're going to go to the gym, like, I have no routine. I mean, this is like getting a little bit lost in the sauce here. Like, you should have a routine, but like, if there's a day where you don't want to go to the gym and you want to break your routine and you want to go play soccer with your friends, that's absolutely something you should do. You shouldn't be so stuck to your routine that you're like, I have to go do chest day today because it's part of my workout plan, right? Having a workout plan is obviously great because it's going to help you make progress versus not having a plan at all. You're going to spin your wheels. You might make progress here and there, but it's going to be really hard to progress. But not getting so stuck on that routine to the point where you can't enjoy your life is a detriment in and of itself. So I think having a plan, we don't have the ability to be as free as Ziggy is. So I think having a plan in place is obviously important, but having the flexibility within that plan to be free the way he is absolutely amazing. And I think more of us should have more of that freedom built in within our fitness lives.
How do you keep your mind fit?
I keep my mind fit by learning new things. Things that I like to do, like building models, solving puzzles. I just thinking about the most things I can think about that happen once, like how when I look up into the sky, it's infinite. Like, I keep my mind fit by doing that and using my imagination too. That helps to exercise my mind. Making music, obviously, is a part of my mind fitness. Writing songs, playing guitar, beneficial for the mind.
All right, Ziggy, let's see that fridge.
Yo! Alright, so welcome to my fridge, my little oasis in my home.
What staples do you always have in your fridge?
The staples I always have in my fridge include some kombucha because good for the digestive system, probiotics and stuff like that. My health starts inside of my gut, so I want to keep that good and that helps me. We have some plant-based proteins from Garden of Life, which I like. Eggs, of course, eggs is my go-to protein. And we also have this, which we make here. It's ginger, boiled ginger. I call it ginger water. Sometimes I just drink this by itself. It's very strong. Also, one of my favorite things to do is, is eat some raw garlic. Some people don't like that, but I don't care. Raw garlic good for me, and I enjoy having that. And I also enjoy my avocado steak.
So now we go to Ziggy's fridge, and upon opening his fridge, it's very fruit and vegetable heavy. There's like nothing in there that's quote unquote processed except for like he's got an almond milk in there. I guess it's technically processed. some juices in there, but it's a very, very clean fridge, right? He talks about kombucha. I don't think I can get jiggy with kombucha. Kombucha is disgusting. He talks about eating raw garlic. I don't know if you should be doing that. He seems to enjoy it, but his fridge is very clean, and I think right there he talks about the probiotics and things like that. He says your health starts from your gut, and I think there's a big part of that that's absolutely true. I think you could have the best workout plan on the planet. If your nutrition's not in place, it's going to be really hard to make progress. So I think he's spot on with that. I think if we, as a whole, I think this is where things get tricky, right? Because the fitness hippie mindset's like, I can enjoy the things that I want to enjoy, but more times than not, if I can make the healthier choice, that's going to be better for my fitness progress going forward. So trying to make that blend between fitness, health, and happiness. Happiness is going to be eating the things you enjoy doing or eating the things you enjoy eating. Fitness is going to be eating the things that help you make progress. And eating healthy is going to be things that fully support and function, or fully support and help the function of your body. So those three things, if you can balance them out pretty greatly, if you can balance them out as best as possible so they can work in conjunction with one another, is obviously like the apex of the whole thing. But getting to that point is pretty difficult. So when you open Ziggy's fridge, it's very health forward. And I think if we can make steps to get closer to that, I don't think we're, I say we, I'm talking collectively, but like I don't know if your fridge will ever look like that, depending on your circumstances. If you can work your way towards inputting these things a little bit into your lives, it's going to make your life better, right? It's going to make your body healthier and your fitness more robust.
How are you avoiding turning to comfort food?
Oh, I don't avoid it. If I feel like eating some comfort food, I eat it. If I feel like having some sweets or whatever, I have it. I don't do it for days upon days upon days. I them call it a cheat days. I might have a cheat day or whatever. But I live kind of
Ziggy,
freely,
once again, spot on, right? The interviewer says, how do you avoid comfort food? And Ziggy says, I don't avoid comfort food. If I want to have comfort food, if I want to have sweets, I'm going to eat the sweets. I don't do it for days and days and days and days and days at a time, which is where a lot of us get lost, right? Myself, my ice cream consumption has been out of control for the last year. So I've had times and like these swings of ups and downs where I do it for a long period of time, and I should start to whittle that down a little bit. So Ziggy has this under control. He's like, if I want to have comfort food, I'm going to have comfort food. If I want to have sweets, I'm going to have sweets. I'm not going to overdo it. I live my life freely. I'm going to enjoy the things that I want to enjoy, but I'm going to rein it in when I think it's time to rein it in.
How has your diet changed over time?
We don't call it diet, we call it live it, because we word die in something that's supposed to give you life. It don't work for me, so I said my live it. So my live it has changed. Once I gain more knowledge throughout the years, I've cut out a lot of bad stuff, I would say, sugary stuff. A lot of bread, a lot of, the processed food. I've cut out a lot of that throughout the years. Fast food, when I was younger, we used to have some fast food. That's done. And so, we just try to change, we live it as we grow more knowledge of what's good for us, and as we listen to our bodies too, because your body speaks to you. I listen to my body. What did you say, body? All right.
Interviewer says, hey Ziggy, how has your diet changed over the years? And Ziggy says, I don't have a diet, I have a live it. Anything with the word die in it is probably not good. And Ziggy talks about the fact that over the years he's cut a lot of sugar, a lot of bread, a lot of processed foods. And he says he doesn't say cut it entirely. He just talked about having comfort food like 30 seconds ago. He just talked about having sweets like 30 seconds ago. So obviously it's not completely out. I just did a podcast, 52, I think it was, about processed foods and if they're killing you or not. And I think there's a point where you can definitely overdo it. And I think there's a point where you can consume it in enough of a quantity that it's not hindering your process and not hindering your health in a low enough amount of quantity. So the more kind of in the middle you can live, the better it's going to be for you. Circumstances withstanding here. Everybody's got a little bit of a different situation. But he says, I listen to my body, and he talks to his stomach, which is funny. But I think a lot of times we can listen to our bodies, right? Our bodies are going to react to the things that we ingest and do differently, right? If you're having a lot of health problems that might stem from it, and when I talk about health problems, I'm talking about you go into the bathroom a lot, or you're having stomach issues or something like that, or digestion issues, a lot of that can probably be traced back to your diet. It's not like you break a leg and you're like, shit, I shouldn't be eating processed foods. Like, those two things don't correlate, but there's a lot of things that correlate with the way your body reacts and the things that you do. So if you can listen to your body more times than not, your body's probably going to tell you exactly what you need, right? If you eat too much fast food and the next day you're sitting on the toilet and you just can't get off the toilet, you're blowing it up, right? That's a pretty good indication that it's probably the fast food. So towing more of that line, right? It's kind of staying in the middle is going to be great for everybody. If you can obviously skew a little bit more to the health side, it's going to be better for you. But if you can find that kind of middle ground that works for you, it's fantastic.
How does your limit change when you're on the road?
When I'm away from home, I don't really miss anything because I carry everything with me usually. And usually it's just really nuts. The world has become so health conscious now that you can find good stuff anywhere I go. Anywhere I go, I can find something healthy to eat that will make me feel good. So I don't worry about it.
What would we never see in your fridge?
What you will never see in my fridge is alcohol. I don't drink alcohol, except kombucha have a little alcohol, but that's alright. Meat, pork, you won't see any of that stuff in my fridge.
What do you eat for breakfast?
What I eat for breakfast, sometimes it's some oatmeal with some nuts. Sometimes I even do a little molasses. We call it wet sugar from Jamaica.
So right there, the interviewer asked if there's anything that you will never find in Ziggy's fridge, and he says alcohol or meat. So obviously Ziggy must be a vegetarian. He's got eggs, so he's not a vegan. So vegetarian, that is a decision that he must have made at some point in his life. He didn't want to eat meat anymore. He also said no alcohol, another decision to be made. But still within those variabilities, right, it's going to be different for everybody. If you want to go vegetarian or you want to go no alcohol or whatever, there's still variabilities, there's still wiggle room within that to enjoy your life, right? So it doesn't have to be so fitness and health forward. You've already made a decision by cutting meat and cutting alcohol, and you can still have a little bit of your happiness intact. There's wiggle room in there, right? So finding the balance is going to be different for everybody. If you decide to go vegetarian or vegan or paleo or whatever diet you decide to do, make sure you have that wiggle room. Make sure you have a little bit of happiness in there.
Do you cook?
Yeah, I cook. I've been cooking for a long time. My go-to dish is probably some fish dishes from Jamaica. Steamed fish with some okra or some fish soup because it makes you strong, you know? Put some in there, you know? So everything in Jamaica, with Jamaican food.
So right there, he says, the interviewer says, Ziggy, do you cook? And he says, yeah, my go-to dish is fish, so he must be pescatarian.
What food do you hate?
No, I'm not a hateful person, or even to food. People, food, I don't hate nothing. And why should I hate some kind of food? I don't know. I have no hate in me, I'm sorry.
This dude, Ziggy, is just like, he is the fitness hippie. The interviewer says, hey, Ziggy, what food do you hate? He says, I'm not a hateful person. I don't hate food. I don't hate people. Why should I hate a food? Makes no sense. I have no hate in my heart. This dude is just big Ziggy Marley fan after this.
What's your go-to comfort food?
My go-to comfort food is usually something sweet. I like cinnamon rolls. I like cupcakes.
Go-to protein?
My go-to protein is usually fish or eggs, really. That's where I get most of my protein from.
What's the toughest diet you ever tried?
Toughest diet? I don't do diets. I've never tried a diet. I mean, I've changed and adapted my way of eating, but I've never tried any diet that somebody had made up and say, here's a diet, go try a diet. I don't do that. I do livests and I make them up myself. I don't follow people livests.
There he says, the interviewer says, hey Ziggy, what's the worst the worst diet that you've ever tried, I think was the question. And Ziggy once again reiterates, like, I don't do diets, I do livets. He says, I've never tried a diet that somebody came up with and said, hey, try this. He said, I listen to my own body and I make my own decisions. Fitness hippie all the way.
What do you eat if you're hungry at 2 a.m.?
Who's hungry at 2 a.m., man? 2 a.m., I don't eat at 2 a.m. It's crazy to eat that time of the night. Your body need time for chill out. You know, your gut need time to chill out before the next time.
Do you take any supplements?
I don't take supplements. I mean, I used to take supplements, but then I figured out if you eat properly, then you don't need supplements. Food is your supplement, so you just have to eat properly. Every now and again, I might do some vitamin C if I feel like I might be catching a cold or something like that. I just, I add some extra vitamin C. But, one supplement that I do is the fish oil. That's the only thing I do consistently, fish oil. All right, yo, that's my fridge. Keep fit, keep healthy. And sometimes you can have a cheat day, all right? Love.
Wait, before we go, it's time for rapid fire questions. 7 a.m. workout or 7 p.m.?
No.
Squat or deadlift?
Both.
Favorite song on playlist?
Those that brought forces are the ones that brought crosses. I don't know the name of it. It's Rage Against the Machine, but I know that line.
CrossFit, yay or nay?
Yeah, man, everything goes. CrossFit.
Pull-ups or chin-ups?
Both.
Dumbbells or kettlebells?
Kettle.
Run on treadmill or great outdoors?
Outdoors, man.
Cardio or weights?
Cardio and weights.
Big legs or big arms?
Legs.
Biggest compliment, jacked, ripped, cut, or swole?
Cut or rip, one of those two.
If you could work out with anyone in the world, dead or alive, who would it be?
The Rock. Bruce Lee too. Pele too. Sure.
Man after my own heart. He says, what is the one thing that you would go for? Sweet. Who is the one celebrity that you'd like to work out with? The Rock, right? I think kind of the biggest thing to take away from this is the fact that pretty much everything that the interviewer asked Ziggy Marley, it's almost right down the middle, right? And I had somebody tell this to me recently. I was going through, showing them some different machines, blah, 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 and they said, you'd be a really good salesman for Everything Works. And I was like, well, that's kind of the name of the game. That's where most people should be in fitness. It's like, fitness is a very this or that space, right? And that's how people approach it, and that's how people teach it sometimes, but it's really right down the middle. It's like whatever works for you. He says squats or deadlifts. He says both. He says running or weights. He says both, right? Both things work. Both things should be a part of your daily regimen. And I think if most people were to walk somewhere down the middle, their fitness, health, and happiness would much more balance maybe than it is right now. So that was, once again, Ziggy Marley is the fitness hippie. If I can be Scottie Pippen, I'd be very happy with that. So if you are lost in your fitness journey, like watching that video and approaching health, wellness, fitness, happiness the way Ziggy does, I think is going to be and do wonders for your life, right? Stop doing things that you saw on the internet, stop doing things that you think is going to be best for you because somebody told you that. Do things that is going to be best for you because you want it to be best for you, because you enjoy that thing, because that's something that you can do for a long time that you'll enjoy and that you'll make progress with and that you'll be happy with, right? Prioritizing yourself versus prioritizing things that other people think will be good for yourself is really ultimately what this all boils down to. So that pretty much wraps this up. Like, I think that's kind of the gist of, and I think the perfect way to kick off the Fitness Hippie podcast going forward is shoot down the middle, prioritize yourself, be more like Ziggy. But hopefully you enjoyed that episode, the first inaugural episode of the Fitness Hippie podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the subscribe button wherever you're watching or listening, on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at MTEFit and also Fitness Hippie Pod. Got 2 Instagrams now. Also 2 YouTube pages, Made to Excel Fitness, MTE Fit, and also the Fitness Hippie Podcast. The full episode will come out on MTE Fit's website. Actually, if you're watching this right now, or if you're watching this right now, you're on the YouTube page already. But if you want to see clips of it, it is also on YouTube at the Fitness Hippie Podcast. And last but not least, follow me on TikTok at MTFit. I think that's it. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.